What's up, guys? It's Kingler here. Kid Kingler to some, Daniel to others. I just got a new video out for you guys today, another one I'm making. We just finished drafting yesterday for this league called the PUDL, a new league that I'm in. I'm in their Showdown division. They ran a Wi-Fi season, and now they're expanding to have a Showdown division. I do just want to apologize before I start this low tier video. I am working on finishing up moving. I'm sick and I called off work today, and I'm just starting to reteach myself how to record videos, and also I'm trying to teach myself Photoshop. I'm trying to get a better setup so I can have, layouts and intros and maybe some music or something going. So this is the beginning, so it's very low tier. I apologize, but I'm just going to go over the rules real quick, and then from the rules I'm going to jump into my team and give you very quick, concise explanations on why I made that pick and how I got there. And then I'll just show you my team page at the end with some final thoughts, and then we'll get out of here. I'm trying to wrap this video up in a reasonable time. So as I said, PUDL Showdown Division 1, sorry, Showdown Division Season 1. It was a snake draft in the Scarlet and Vile regional division, or game, I guess you could say. So pretty much anything that is current and live up to the most recent DLC and the most recent Pokemon game. It was a snake format, so it was coach 1 to 16, and then after pick 16 it would bounce back the other way. Each coach will draft between 10 to 12 Pokemon, and our budget was 115 points. As the rule stated, we did not need to spend their full budget, and so some people might have ended with a few extra points, but that was really no difference to me. The big thing for me here was the use of the Terra rules. Um, I'll just read them to you. A Terra Captain will have access to 3 Terra Crystals. One has to be the same type as the user, like as that Pokemon. So just as an example, if you have a dual type Pokemon, you've got to pick at least one of their dual types, and then you can pick any other 2 types. So it's pretty simple, if you're electric flying, it could be electric and then 2 other types. You can pick flying and 2 other types, or if you really wanted to, you could pick electric, flying, and then pick any other 3rd type. But pretty much you're locked to those 3. You can't use all of them. Well, the teams would then be able to assign 2 or 3 Terra Captains, and they must stay within the 15-point budget. And coaches can only give Terra Captaincy to Pokemon 9 points and under, with some exceptions in a list they've created. It's right there. I can scroll down if you'd really like to see it. Pretty much, I'm going to scroll down a little bit right here. So these Pokemon are in the 9-point tier, but have still been deemed too powerful with Terra to be able to use it. So it's kind of up to the drafting coach if they wanted to spend 9 points on those Mons. But even though they're in the 9-point tier, you're still not going to be able to Terra them. And then the only other rule that I skipped here, because it doesn't apply to me, was coaches can only bring 2 out of the 3 Terra Captains to each battle. So when I read this rule, it's whatever, it's their rule. I just know, like, if I'm not going to be able to bring the 3 Mons, then I might as well just have the 2. And that's pretty much how I went from there. The rest of the rules page isn't a big difference. It's, free agency, trades, weekly battles, Smogon rule set. It's all the standard draft stuff. So from there, I do just want to jump into my team. Let me just switch the screen over for you guys. Alright, so right here, we're right on Showdown. This is where dreams are made. This is where prep happens. Get in the lab. So my team name is Hyde Park Hippos. I was the 2nd overall pick. I did end up taking Ogerpon Hearthflame. I really struggled with this pick because with 16 people on coming back, I wasn't going to draft till, I think number wise that's like 29 or 30 or somewhere around that. There's going to go a lot of Mons were going to go before I went again. So I wanted to take something new, but I also was scared that if I didn't take something standard that's a super hyper carry, kind of like Dragapult, that you can build any team around, that I might struggle because you never know what's going to come back to you when you got to wait over 20 Mons to get back to you. But I just said, screw it. I went with Ogerpon Hearthflame. I think the ability is really cool. He's got a really cool move set. The stats aren't wild. There's not the highest numbers, but there's something. And that was really it for the pick 1. I just decided to use a new guy and see what I'd be able to craft around him. So after I took Ogerpon, I really wanted to make sure I could get him some hazards, somebody that could come in defensively. Really want to showcase Ogerpon because he's a new guy, you know what I mean? It's DLC just came out. people want to see it be used, especially people in the Nat decks or just draft community in general. So with the second overall pick for me, once it got back to me, I got lucky. And oops, we're leaking names already, but that's all right. It's all right. Ting Lu came up. Obviously spikes, rocks, just a bulky, annoying guy. I haven't really looked at offensive sets, but like I said, I'm trying to set it up here so I can try and chip some stuff down so Ogrepon can be a threat in the back. From there, those two, I wanted to get some more support and I wanted to punish momentum. And with grass and and dark, even though I think it might be neutral damage, I was really looking at like U-turn, just kind of scare the not even scare, but just kind of deter the idea that it's free U-turns all over the team. So this should be pretty obvious. Especially because I leaked his name right there. My third pick, I went Zapdos. Really, really, really like Zapdos. I think he's pretty cool, but mainly, let's be real here, I went for the static ability. I do like that his special attack is a pretty high number, so I can run like a defensive set with offensive moves and not really need to invest too much for special attack, and he can really kind of be bulky as well as still threaten you out. And that was really it for my first three picks. I had two support for Ogrepon, and at this point I kind of, took a step back and reset where I was. I was looking around, and I decided to go with my fourth overall pick to Crawdont. I really like this mon. I think he's underutilized. I don't really see him a lot. I know in the league that I was helping run, I think we had maybe one or two people use him for parts of a season, but no one's ever really like used him. So I saw him sitting there. I didn't have a water type yet. I decided to bring him in. He's got good abilities. Adaptability is always a threat. The possibility of Trick Room exists with this guy. Outside of Trick Room, I can still do like Life Orb, Aqua Jet. Just brings more damage to the team because I felt like I took two turns to get more of the util going. So I really wanted to get somebody else in here. Going into round four, I pretty much hit everything that I had wanted personally. Round five, everything was falling apart. It was Snipe Central. I'm not going to go into exactly what mons I wanted because the planner changed a lot based off how many mons I lost. So if some stuff does open in Grace, I might make some moves, but I feel like the comp and ideas at this point are so gelled together that even if some of the mons I wanted do open up, it's not worth going back and dropping. I'm probably going to rock this team for at least the first few weeks. So after Crawdont with the 5th overall pick, I did take Pheasantipity. I have not heard a lot of good things about this mon in the draft community from multiple sources. A lot of the guys from the league that I was just running don't like it. I've already gotten heat for it in this league in the general chat telling me it's Pheasant Shippity, which is, what are you going to do? One thing I do like that it does bring is it still has Toxic. Regional decks really did cut Toxic off a lot of Amons. It's a missable Toxic as well as it can absorb T-Spikes, so I'm not going to lose to T-Spikes the second you throw them. I don't have to boots 6 Mons, you know what I'm saying? And it is a fighting resist. It's 4 times fighting resist. If I do have one complaint just off the initial draft with this guy, it would be that his bulk is mainly in special defense, especially because I was looking for the fighting resist. His defense isn't the worst number in the world. I think it's like 82 or something like that. But it's not what I was exactly looking for because a lot of those fighting moves, because I have double dark with Crawdon Tanglu, a lot of those fighting moves coming in are going to be in, Brick Break, Drain Punch, Close Combat, those are all going to hit physically, and Pheasantipity will resist them still, but imagine that bigger number was in defense. I feel like it would have gone a bit stupider. He probably would have been worth more, but it's alright. You gotta do what you can do. And then the only other thing I do like about this mon is his hidden ability is Technician. I do think there are some cool sets that could be explored there, but his, Technician as well as Toxic Chain, which is a 30% chance for your moves to Toxic the mon in front of you. I just felt like it did what I needed in the moment, and it's gonna be at least worth to give it a shot, and we'll see what happens. After that, I was kind of looking for a Steel type, but as we've gone over, I was fighting weak, so I really wanted to secure a Steel type that was at least neutral to fighting damage, so I didn't have another fighting weak to worry about immediately. That led me to Bronzong. This guy is obviously fat, defensive, and Spadef. He's Levitate, so he doesn't got to work about Earthquake. If the matchup's really bad for a fire type, I could run Heat Proof, but I don't really like that one. And it's just one of those mons that you could slot him into any lineup. He can always get your rocks up. You got to watch out for Iron Defense, Body Press, a lot of stuff like that. It's pretty simple mon in explanation. But at this point in the draft, I was looking pretty much at trying to secure a Terra user because I didn't know when people were going to start taking them because there's a limited amount that you probably feel like you can get value for your team. And this was the round where they just started going. I had 6 or 7 Mons set up to want to be my Terra captains, and they were mostly all gone by the time it got back to me after Bronzong. So I was kind of forced my hand to take one right now, even though it might not have been the most ideal for me or my current situation, which is Electrode Hisui. Now, I think this guy's really cool. I think what it brings mostly is just its ability to Terra and be special. Terra Blast Fairy, something like that. I did select as its types were Electric, Fairy, and Ice. Always good. It can threaten out grounds and the other types that it might want to defeat with those three, but its numbers aren't that high besides speed. But it does always give me a speed control option. Volt Switch. I don't know if it gets both screens. It might only get one of them, but it gave me something to use and confirmed at least one Terra Captain for me. And he's cool. I've never used him since he's come out, so at that point I was just kind of like, take it. At this point, after the Electrode, on the bounce back, I was looking at my team and I realized really the only Mon that I had with special attack above 100 was Zapdos, so I really wanted to bring some power in with my next pick, which led me to Volcanion. Again, I'm leaking my own picks. It's alright though. We go on. Volcanion, super cool in my mind. Fire Water is really cool dual typing, but it's also water absorb, so it gives me an immune, which is always good. Immuning water is never a bad thing on any Mon. His numbers are crazy. Special attacks 130. He's got good bulk and everything else. The only thing for me with Volcanion is he's a little slow, and that's fine. But a lot of times I feel like you don't want to bring boots, like you don't want to be locked into boots, but you're gonna kind of most times it's gonna end up being boots. But I do feel like a specs or sometimes a scarf set could really catch some people off guard because this Mon is just chucking damage. After this, after Volcanion, I was left with pretty much a long delay between my next one. I was looking at my team. At the moment, the only off I had was Defog out of Zapdos. I originally had some plan. I originally had planned some spinners, but I lost both of them in the time that it got back to me. So I was scouring through for a second Terra Captain with some off that I thought could still be useful, and I landed on Girder. He's not exactly what I was going for, but I do think he's still cool. His ability Guts is still good. I can flame more, but I do have ways to run Trick Room, so I thought that was still possible to bring him in. He does get defog. Um, I did make him a Terra Captain. Same thing. He doesn't have a lot of coverage. He has no coverage to hit Ghost types. So the first typing I picked was Ghost. Obviously, I have to keep his one fighting stab Terra, and then the second typing I picked was Steel, just to deal with any kind of fairies. And that was pretty much it for the Girder pick. He was really good value, and I felt like I had some mons that could complement his other stuff. And if worse comes to worse, I really can bring him in Click Defog. I'm not super sold on that yet, but the option's there, and I had to get at least one more, but I'm not in love with the idea. And then my last pick, which I'm sure you saw when I clicked on Girder and went to his page, was Gudra. I ended up after the Girder pick having 11 points. I was trying to figure out if I was going to go for more than 10 mons and kind of space out the point values, or if I was going to try and just get one more, mid-tier mon that could do something for my team. At this point, I did not have a dragon on the roster, so I decided to bring her in. She got some cool buffs. I know she got Scald and Knockoff. She's especially defensive. She's a grass immune. It's kind of a weird immune, but with these Ogrepons running around, grass is never a bad immune in my mind at this point. And yeah, the numbers are good. I could run this thing AV and just bring 4 attack and she'll be good. I could put on GUI and try and slow people down if they're trying to, hit me physically. Lowering their speed's always good. Hydration's always good if somebody's got some rain going. But yeah, she was a good mid-tier pick. But that was it. At that point, I was 10 mons, and there was nothing left for me really on that. So I do just want to show you guys the team page. Let me get to it. I should have had this ready, but that's alright. It's alright. It's alright. Let me see what we got here. So, alright, easy enough. So first thing on this team page, I do, just like I said, I want to give a shout out to Shiro and I don't want to say it wrong. I'm going to say Kazuto, but it might be Kaz. I think they just go by Kaz. At least that's what the Discord name says. Um, they made me this logo when I joined the league or I joined the Discord. They asked me if I had a logo or a team mon that I thought would be a cool logo, like if I had any ideas, and I gave them this idea, and then within a couple hours they sent me this logo back and told me I would, I was allowed to use it. It's just they made it for me, so big shout out to them for that, and also running the league. Having experience running another league with some friends, it's never as easy as people think it's going to be. So definitely excited to give it a test, at least this format. And yeah, just to give you we'll sum it up right here and the values on my mons. Just pull that page up real quick because I was stuck. All right, great. So yeah, first round, Ogerpon Hearthflame was 15, Tinglu was 14. After that, Zap was 15, Fez was 12, Crawdont was 13, Bronzong 10, Electrode 8, 12, 5, and 11, so on and so forth. You can see the types: Fighting, Ghost, Steel on Girder, and then for Electrode, 8, 14, and 8, 14. What am I talking about? Electric, Fairy, and Ice are the types there. But yeah, anyway, that's gonna wrap this one up. I don't want to go crazy in length. I do hope to make a video weekly where I'm going to go over the 6 mons that I'm bringing that week and the thought process of what they're supposed to be doing in that matchup, right? And then hopefully that'll be followed immediately by live recording of the showdown match. And that'll be it. Hopefully I'll upload that. I'm hoping to, as the weeks go on, we'll see a gradual quality increase for the videos, because right now, like I said, they are pretty low tier and I'm not doing much besides recording my screens and moving things manually with my mouse. So I apologize for any of the roughness around these videos, but that's about it. And I will see you guys after I play my week 1 game in this league. So that's it. Have a good day.